In the shadowed, crumbling ruins of what was once New York City, Dr. Liam Roberts carefully navigated through fallen debris and overgrown foliage. With him was his colleague, Dr. Evan Morales, both armed with tools and sensors designed to probe the secrets of Earth's ancient past. The city, abandoned and reclaimed by nature, now served as an eerie reminder of humanity's near extinction centuries ago. "Watch your step, Evan. This sector hasn't been surveyed in decades, and the structures aren't stable," Liam warned, his voice echoing slightly in the vast emptiness. Evan, adjusting his headlamp, nodded. "What exactly are we looking for here, Liam? Most of this area has been picked clean by looters in previous expeditions." Liam paused, consulting his digital map. "Not everything. According to the archives, this was a hotbed for pre-collapse military R&D. If there's anything left, it'll be deeper underground, away from the surface scavengers." As they ventured deeper into the heart of the old city, Liam's scanner started beeping intermittently. "We're close," he muttered, excitement creeping into his voice. "The readings are off the charts right beneath us." Evan looked around, spotting an almost concealed entrance partly obscured by thick ivy and rubble. "Could this be it?" he asked, pointing towards the dark opening. "Only one way to find out," Liam replied, leading the way as they cleared the entrance and descended into the darkness below. The underground facility was vast and labyrinthine, filled with shadows and the quiet weight of history. As they explored, the air grew cooler, and the remnants of high-tech equipment became more apparent. "This doesn't look like any military tech I've seen," Evan observed, running his fingers over the sleek, alien design of a console that flickered to life at his touch. Liam approached, examining the strange symbols glowing on the display. "This is it, Evan. This is definitely not human technology. We've stumbled upon something alien." The discovery sent a chill through them both. They knew the implications were enormous, not just for history, but for the present security of Earth. Suddenly the ground trembled, dust cascading from the ceiling as the facility seemed to awaken from a long slumber. "Did we trigger something?" Evan asked, a note of alarm in his voice. Liam scanned the room quickly, a sense of urgency overtaking him. "We might have activated a dormant system. We need to gather what we can and get these findings back to the surface. Who knows what systems might still be operational?" As they collected data pads and other portable devices, Liam noticed a small, cube-like object sitting alone on a pedestal in the center of the room. Without thinking, he reached out and picked it up. The cube was surprisingly heavy, cold to the touch, and began emitting a low hum. "Liam, what is that?" Evan asked, stepping closer. "Not sure, but it might be the power source or a data storage unit. Let's take it with us," Liam decided, wrapping the cube carefully in his pack. No sooner had they begun their trek back to the surface than Liam's communicator buzzed with an urgent message from their surface team. "Dr. Roberts, please respond. We're detecting an energy surge from your location. It's massive. You need to evacuate immediately." The message spurred them to move faster, retracing their steps through the winding, dark corridors. As they emerged into the dim light of dusk, Liam looked back at the facility entrance, a sense of foreboding settling over him. "We've just opened Pandora's box, Evan," he said quietly. "Let's hope we're ready for what comes out." Together, they hurried back to their camp, the ancient echoes of the facility ringing in their ears, as distant and ominous as the falling night. Liam and Evan returned to their makeshift research base, just outside the desolate sprawl of the city's remnants, under the cover of darkness. The camp was alive with nervous energy as the team gathered around the duo, eager to learn about their findings. "Dr. Roberts, what did you find down there?" asked Sarah, a young geologist part of their team, her eyes wide with curiosity and concern. Liam set the mysterious cube on a makeshift table, watching as it continued to emit a faint, pulsating light. "We found evidence of alien technology," he announced, his voice steady despite the racing thoughts in his mind. "This isn't just left over from the old world. It's something else entirely. Something not of Earth." The team murmured amongst themselves, the gravity of the discovery settling in. Dr. Jessica Tan, the team's lead engineer, leaned in closer to examine the cube. "Have you tried interfacing with it? There might be data we can extract." "Not yet," Liam replied. "We need to be careful. This technology could be dangerous." As they debated their next steps, the cube began to hum louder, its light intensifying. Suddenly, a beam of light shot upwards into the night sky, piercing the darkness like a beacon. "What the?" Evan exclaimed, stepping back. Liam grabbed a scanner, pointing it at the cube. The readings were off the charts. "This signal, it's broadcasting something, and it's powerful." The team watched in awe and horror as the light continued to blaze into the heavens. Then, just as suddenly as it had begun, the cube went dark, and the night returned to stillness. "We need to report this," Liam decided, turning to the team. "Whatever we've found, it's made contact." Across the galaxy, on a distant planet shrouded in darkness and ice, the signal reached its intended recipients. The Krillax, a warlike alien race, had been waiting for centuries for any sign from their long-lost outpost on Earth. In the command center of their massive warship, Commander Zorak stared at the flickering screens displaying the signal's origin. "So the humans survived," he muttered, his voice a mix of surprise and disdain. "Commander, what are your orders?" asked Lieutenant Krill, his second-in-command, standing rigidly at attention. Zorak's eyes glinted with a cold resolve. "Prepare the fleet. It's time we return to Terra to finish what we started. This time we leave no survivors." The massive engines of the Krillax warship roared to life, and soon a fleet of sleek, menacing ships set a course for Earth, ready to enforce the ancient cleansing protocol that had been their mission so long ago. Back on Earth, as Liam and his team prepared to transmit their findings to the Global Defense Command, the atmosphere was tense. Liam felt a deep sense of foreboding, knowing that they had potentially awakened a formidable foe. "We should prepare for the worst," he told the team solemnly. "I don't think we'll have much time before we see a response to that signal." Evan nodded, his expression grim. "Let's get everything we've got to the command. They need to know what's coming." As the team scrambled to gather their data and secure their site, Liam looked up at the stars, wondering if among them a threat was already hurtling towards Earth. The weight of their discovery bore down on him, and he knew that the relative peace humanity had enjoyed might soon come to an end. They had unwittingly opened the door to a new chapter in human history, one that could spell their salvation or their doom. Under the pale glow of dawn, the research base was a flurry of activity. Liam, alongside Evan and Jessica, prepared detailed reports to send to the Global Defense Command. The potential threat of the Krillax required immediate attention, and each moment they delayed increased the risk of being unprepared for what might come. As they transmitted the last of their data, an urgent communication came through. Liam answered the call, his heart sinking as he recognized the voice of General Marcus Finn, head of Earth's Defense Forces. "Dr. Roberts, we've received your reports. Are you absolutely certain of the readings from this device?" General Finn's voice was tight with concern. "Absolutely, General. The technology is unlike anything we've previously encountered. It's advanced, alien, and it activated itself," Liam explained, pacing before the assembled screens showing data streams. General Finn paused, the gravity of the situation palpable even through the static of the transmission. "We've started to detect unidentified objects entering the solar system. Your findings suggest they might not be coming in peace. We're moving to DEFCON 2. Liam exchanged a look with Evan, both understanding the severity of escalating to such a high alert level. "We'll continue gathering whatever intelligence we can from the artifact. It might give us more insight into their technology or intentions," he responded. "Good. Keep me updated, Roberts. Every piece of information is crucial now," the general replied before ending the call. The team turned back to the artifact, now inert and seemingly harmless, yet a harbinger of the looming threat. Jessica, with her engineering expertise, began interfacing with the cube using a makeshift rig to try and extract any data or operational logic. Meanwhile, Evan monitored the satellite feeds, watching as the unknown objects drew closer to Earth's atmosphere. "They're fast, much faster than anything we've got. We might have less time than we thought," he reported, his voice tense. Liam felt a surge of responsibility. His discovery had brought this threat to Earth's doorstep. Determined to help defend his planet, he assisted Jessica, hoping to unlock the cube's secrets. As they worked, a sudden alarm blared through the base. Evan rushed to the radar console, his eyes widening in shock. "Multiple objects have entered the atmosphere. They're not just recon. This looks like an invasion force." Liam ran to the console, seeing the blips that represented the alien ships descending towards Earth. He realized they were likely heading towards major population centers. "We have to warn everyone. Evacuations need to start now," he said urgently. Just as he grabbed the communicator to relay this information, a deafening boom shook the base. They rushed outside, staring up in horror and awe as several large ships descended from the sky, their designs sleek and menacing, utterly alien. The ground shook as one of the ships landed near their base, kicking up a cloud of dust and debris. Armed figures emerged, their armor reflecting the early morning light, weapons trained on Liam and his team. Liam stood frozen, realizing that any hostile move could trigger a deadly confrontation. As the armed figures approached, he raised his hands in a universal gesture of peace. "We mean no harm," he called out, hoping the aliens understood. The leader of the alien squad, a towering figure with sharp angular features and glowing eyes, stopped a few meters away. After a tense moment, it spoke in a guttural, accented voice, surprisingly in English. "You activated the beacon. Why?" Liam took a careful breath, choosing his words with care. "We didn't understand what it was. We meant no harm. We're explorers, not warriors." The alien commander seemed to consider his words, then nodded slightly. "Your actions have consequences. Prepare to face them." With that cryptic warning, the aliens regrouped, leaving as quickly as they had arrived, heading towards their next destination. Liam, Evan, and Jessica stood in stunned silence, watching them go. The first contact had been made, and though bloodshed was avoided, the threat was clear. They returned to the base, knowing they needed to prepare. Humanity had to stand united, now more than ever, to face the terrors that Liam had unwittingly unleashed upon old Terra. In the wake of the first contact, the world was on high alert. General Marcus Finn convened an emergency meeting at the Global Defense Headquarters, where Liam, Evan, and Jessica were urgently flown in. The atmosphere was charged with a mix of fear and determination as military leaders and defense strategists from around the globe gathered to formulate a plan of action. Liam and his team presented the data they had extracted from the alien artifact, sharing insights into the technology and potential weaknesses they had discovered. The artifact indicates that the Krillax may have vulnerabilities in their shielding technology, Liam explained, pointing to the complex diagrams on the screen. "If we can exploit this, we may have a chance to defend our planet effectively." General Finn nodded, processing the information. "Our priority is to protect civilian populations. I want evacuation protocols in place for all major cities within potential strike zones. Additionally, we'll need to fortify our defenses around these areas." He turned to address the room, his voice firm and commanding. "We are up against a formidable enemy, but we are not defenseless. We will coordinate our efforts globally and strike with precision. Our response must be unified and decisive." The military mobilization was unlike any seen in recent history. Anti-aircraft systems and mobile defense units were deployed across the globe, focusing on strategic points that intelligence suggested might be targets. The skies buzzed with drones and fighter jets, patrolling and ready to engage at the first sign of hostile activity. Meanwhile, Liam continued to work closely with Jessica and a team of scientists to further understand the alien technology. They experimented with electromagnetic pulses and other countermeasures that could disrupt the Krillax ships, based on the vulnerabilities Liam had initially uncovered. In a secure facility, they set up a controlled environment to test these defenses. "If we can disrupt their shield even for a few seconds, it could open a window for our missiles to get through," Jessica said, adjusting the settings on a high-powered EMP generator. Liam watched anxiously as the first test commenced. The air crackled with electricity as the generator came to life, sending a powerful surge that mimicked the conditions they hoped to create in battle. The results were promising, but there was still much work to be done. As they prepared for the next round of tests, an urgent message came through from the satellite surveillance team. "Multiple Krillax ships are advancing towards the eastern seaboard," the voice reported, fraught with tension. General Finn, who had been overseeing the operation, responded immediately. "Deploy all available units to intercept. Initiate the countermeasures we've prepared based on Dr. Roberts' findings. This is it. We engage on our terms." Liam felt a surge of adrenaline as he and his team watched the live feeds from the defense lines. The Krillax ships came into view, sleek and ominous, moving with terrifying speed. As they entered the range of the EMP traps, the first volley was launched. The sky lit up with explosions as some of the Krillax shields faltered under the EMP assault. Cheers broke out in the control room as several alien ships were hit and began to lose altitude. However, the victory was short-lived as more ships pressed forward, adapting to the attack patterns. "It's working, but not well enough. They're learning and adjusting their shields too quickly," Evan observed, analyzing the incoming data. Liam frowned, his mind racing for solutions. "We need to increase the power of the EMPs, push them beyond their limits. It's risky, but it might give us the edge we need." General Finn approved the plan, and adjustments were made swiftly. The next wave of attacks would be crucial. As the enhanced EMPs charged up, everyone held their breath, hoping that this bold strategy would turn the tide in Earth's favor. The battle for Earth had truly begun, and its outcome would determine the fate of humanity. The dawn broke over the horizon with a somber tint as fleets of Krillax ships advanced towards major Earth cities, their ominous silhouettes blotting out the morning light. Across the globe, the skies buzzed with the sounds of human fighter jets and anti-aircraft fire forming the first line of defense in what would be Earth's most crucial battle. General Finn monitored the situation from the Global Defense Command Center, coordinating the worldwide military response. All units, maintain formation and keep the pressure on. Remember, the EMPs are key to breaking their defenses, he commanded, his voice a beacon of resolve over the comlinks. In the field, Liam and Jessica were stationed at a mobile command unit, overseeing the deployment of the enhanced EMP devices they had developed. With each Krillax ship that approached, they initiated the EMP sequence, watching anxiously as the electrical pulses disrupted the alien shields momentarily, allowing Earth's missiles to penetrate. "Hit them now!" Liam shouted as one of the Krillax ship's shields flickered and failed. A barrage of missiles followed, striking the ship and sending it crashing into the Atlantic. Cheers erupted around them, mixed with the relentless sounds of ongoing battle. However, the Krillax were adapting, their approach changing to smaller, more agile ships that were harder to target. Jessica, analyzing the incoming data, turned to Liam. "The smaller ships are evading the EMPs. We need a new approach, something more direct." Liam nodded, his brain working furiously. "Let's modify the EMP launchers. If we can make them more targeted, we might increase accuracy. It's a long shot, but it's worth a try." Working alongside the engineering team, they quickly reconfigured the EMP devices to be more precise. As the next wave of Krillax ships approached, they deployed the modified EMPs. The sky lit up with flashes of electricity, striking the smaller ships with devastating accuracy. Meanwhile, the ground forces engaged the Krillax troops that had managed to land. Urban warfare broke out in the streets of major cities, with Earth soldiers fighting desperately against the technologically superior alien invaders. The battle was brutal, with heavy casualties on both sides, but the human forces fought with relentless courage. Back at the command center, General Finn received reports of the ground engagements. "Reinforce the urban units. We can't let them gain a foothold," he ordered, his expression grim. The fight was nowhere near over. As the day progressed, a massive Krillax carrier emerged from the clouds, dwarfing the other ships. Its presence signaled a significant escalation in the invasion. "This is their flagship," Liam observed, examining the live feed. "Taking it down could cripple their operation." General Finn agreed, his eyes narrowing in determination. "Prepare all units for a concentrated attack on that carrier. This could be our chance to turn the tide." The order went out, and every available unit converged on the Krillax flagship. Fighter jets darted through the sky, weaving a complex dance of death around the massive ship. The modified EMPs were deployed en masse, creating a net of electrical energy that enveloped the carrier. For a tense moment, the carrier's shields flickered under the onslaught, and then they failed. A collective breath was held across the command center as missiles and artillery were directed at the now vulnerable behemoth. With a tremendous explosion that lit up the sky, the flagship began to disintegrate, falling piece by piece into the sea below. A cheer rose up from the human forces, echoing through the radios and comm systems. As night began to fall, the Krillax, disoriented and leaderless, started to withdraw. Humanity had won a significant victory, but the war was not yet over. The victory at sea bought Earth crucial time to regroup and prepare for the next phase of the conflict. Liam, exhausted but uplifted, looked up at the night sky. "We've pushed them back for now," he said to Jessica, who nodded in agreement. "We'll be ready for them," she replied, her voice steady with the promise of continued resistance and hope. The victory against the Krillax flagship buoyed Earth's spirits, but the conflict was far from over. Reports of smaller skirmishes around the globe kept pouring in, indicating that the Krillax were regrouping and adapting their tactics. General Finn, understanding the relentless nature of the enemy, called for an emergency meeting to strategize the next phase of Earth's defense. In the dimly lit war room, Liam, Jessica, and top military strategists gathered around a large digital map displaying the current global military situation. General Finn stood at the head of the table, his face set in grim determination. "We've dealt them a significant blow, But the Krillax are not defeated yet, General Finn began. We need to be proactive, anticipate their next moves, and strike them before they can recover. Liam stepped forward, presenting the latest data he and Jessica had gathered from the Krillax technology they had salvaged. Our analysis suggests that the Krillax have several smaller bases hidden on Earth, likely cloaked. These could serve as staging grounds for their forces. The room buzzed with murmurs as the implications sank in. If we can locate these bases and destroy them, we might disrupt their operations enough to force them into a retreat, Jessica added, enhancing Liam's point. General Finn nodded approvingly. Excellent work. I want strike teams ready to move out as soon as we have locations. Roberts, Tan, you're with me on this. We need your expertise on the ground. The next few days were a blur of activity. Using a combination of satellite imagery, ground reconnaissance, and the alien tech, Liam and Jessica helped pinpoint the locations of 3 hidden Krillax bases. Strike teams, equipped with the latest Earth weaponry and EMP devices, were dispatched to these locations in coordinated global strikes. Liam and Jessica joined one of the strike teams heading to a suspected base in the Amazon rainforest. As their aircraft hovered above the dense canopy, the team readied themselves for descent. Remember, these bases are likely heavily fortified and guarded. Stay sharp, the team leader briefed as they rappelled down into the thick jungle. The humidity and the dense foliage made the trek toward the base location challenging. As they neared the coordinates, Jessica's modified scanner picked up traces of the cloaking frequency used by the Krillax. We're close. The base should be just through that ridge, she whispered, pointing ahead where the air shimmered slightly, a telltale sign of the cloaking field at work. The team approached cautiously, using the dense underbrush as cover. Suddenly, a burst of energy fire ripped through the forest, narrowly missing them. Contact! We've got Krillax guards, shouted one of the team members, returning fire. A fierce firefight ensued. The Earth forces, using guerrilla tactics, managed to push the Krillax back, inching closer to the base entrance. Liam, armed and determined, took a leading role, using his knowledge of Krillax technology to disrupt their defensive systems temporarily. With a loud crash, the entrance to the base was breached, and the team stormed inside. Inside, they found a hub of activity, with alien troops scrambling to mount a defense. The battle was intense and chaotic, but the Earth forces, fueled by desperation and the drive for survival, fought relentlessly. After hours of fierce combat, the base was secured, and its main reactor was set to overload, ensuring its total destruction. As the team exfiltrated just in time to see the base explode in a brilliant fireball behind them, a sense of accomplishment filled the air. However, Liam knew this was just one battle in a larger war. We need to keep moving, strike the other bases before they can regroup, he said to the team, already planning their next move. Back at the command center, reports came in of successful strikes on the other bases. The global effort was working. The Krillax were being pushed back, their grip on Earth loosening. But as they celebrated their victories, an ominous message intercepted from deep space suggested the Krillax might be calling for reinforcements. The war was far from over, and Earth had to prepare for whatever came next. General Finn and his team braced themselves, knowing that the real test of humanity's resilience was still to come. The revelation of potential Krillax reinforcements put Earth's defense forces on high alert. General Finn, aware that their current victories could be short-lived, convened a global summit to bolster Earth's defenses and prepare for a possible second wave of attacks. We have struck significant blows, but we must remain vigilant, he emphasized in his opening address to the summit attendees. Liam and Jessica were tasked with developing a more permanent countermeasure against the Krillax technology, especially focusing on enhancing Earth's satellite defenses to detect and disrupt incoming ships before they could reach the planet. Working tirelessly in a high-security lab, they experimented with advanced algorithms and scavenged alien tech to create a new detection system. This should increase our response time significantly, Jessica noted as they integrated the final components of their system. If their ships come, we'll see them much sooner. Meanwhile, Liam focused on the offensive capabilities. We need a way to strike at them in space before they even reach our atmosphere, he suggested. Collaborating with aerospace engineers, he helped design a series of spaceborne drones equipped with EMP technology and high-yield explosives, capable of intercepting and neutralizing Krillax ships. As Earth bolstered its defenses, the Krillax, regrouping in the outer solar system, launched a new fleet towards Earth, larger and more formidable than the first. This time, they were prepared for Earth's tricks and tactics. The approaching fleet was detected early by Liam and Jessica's new systems, giving Earth precious hours to prepare. General Finn deployed the newly developed space drones, which moved into position to intercept the Krillax fleet. "This is our best shot. Let's make it count," he declared, watching the situation unfold from the command center. The drones, operating at the edge of Earth's orbit, engaged the Krillax fleet with precise movements. As the enemy ships closed in, the drones activated their EMP payloads, disrupting the alien shields and leaving them vulnerable. Following up, Earth's orbital defense platforms launched a barrage of missiles, targeting the no-exposed ships. The battle in space was intense and harrowing, with both sides suffering losses. However, the enhanced defenses and Liam's offensive strategies began to turn the tide. One by one, the Krillax ships were destroyed or disabled, their debris scattering across the void. On Earth, people watched the skies, hoping for a sign of victory. When the news of the successful defense spread, cities worldwide erupted in celebration. But the joy was tempered with the knowledge that the threat might not be over. The Krillax could still retaliate. In the aftermath of the battle, General Finn received a transmission from the Krillax command. Surprisingly, it was not a declaration of further hostilities, but an offer for a ceasefire. The Krillax, recognizing the unexpected resilience and capability of Earth's forces, proposed a truce to reconsider their strategy and avoid further unnecessary carnage. General Finn, together with global leaders and advisors, including Liam and Jessica, deliberated long into the night. They decided to accept the ceasefire, using this opportunity to strengthen Earth's defenses even further and prepare for future negotiations or conflicts. "This ceasefire is a chance for us to build, to learn, and to be ready if peace doesn't hold," Liam reflected, relieved yet cautious about the future. As peace temporarily settled over Earth, humanity began to repair and rebuild. Liam, Jessica, and their colleagues were hailed as heroes, their efforts having saved countless lives. Memorials were erected for those lost, and Earth slowly healed from the scars of war. The ceasefire held, opening new possibilities for diplomatic relations and technological exchanges that might one day lead to a more permanent peace. Liam, ever the scientist, continued his work, driven by the hope that Earth would not only survive future threats, but could someday prevent them. Through determination, innovation, and unity, Earth had turned the tide against a formidable enemy. Now, they looked to the future, ready for whatever it might bring, their spirits unbroken. As the ceasefire took effect, Earth's atmosphere shifted from one of urgent crisis management to cautious optimism. The globe was still in recovery mode, cities needed rebuilding, and populations needed reassurance that the threat was genuinely abated. But above all, Earth's leaders and its military forces needed to prepare for any future encounters, peaceful or otherwise. In the wake of the ceasefire, General Finn established a new international coalition, not just to rebuild the damaged infrastructures, but to consolidate Earth's defense capabilities. "We've seen what we can achieve when we stand united," Finn declared during the inaugural meeting of this new alliance. "Let's ensure we're stronger for the next time, whether it's a negotiation table or a battlefield." Liam and Jessica, now leading figures in technological research and defense strategies, were tasked with overseeing the development of a permanent orbital defense grid. This grid was to be Earth's first line of defense, equipped with sensors, EMP cannons, and missile systems, all designed from the hybrid technology they had engineered during the conflict. Meanwhile, diplomatic channels buzzed with activity. Ambassadors from different nations worked tirelessly to establish formal communication with the Krillax leaders. Their goal was clear: to transform the fragile ceasefire into a lasting peace. "It's about showing them that we can be allies, not just adversaries," Jessica noted as she prepared her report on the potential benefits of technological exchange. "We have as much to gain from them as they do from us." Liam spent his days alternating between the defense grid's construction oversight and his lab, where he continued to decipher more of the alien technology salvaged from the conflict. "There's still so much we don't understand," he often mused, "but every piece we unlock could be the key to a lasting peace, or at least a well-prepared defense." Progress was palpable. The sky, once filled with the ominous shadows of Krillax ships, now hosted the bustling activity of construction drones and satellites weaving together Earth's new shield. Down below, cities rose from ruins, their skylines gradually reclaiming their forms against the horizon. Then, the historic moment came. Earth received its first diplomatic envoy from the Krillax. The meeting, held at the United Nations headquarters, was broadcast globally. Every human on the planet watched as Krillax representatives stepped onto Earth soil, not as conquerors but as potential partners. The talks lasted for weeks, with many rounds of negotiations. The Krillax were initially hesitant, their culture not accustomed to diplomatic resolutions of conflict. However, Earth's display of resilience and technological prowess during the war had earned their respect. Finally, a treaty was signed. It was not just a peace agreement, but a mutual defense and technological exchange pact. Humanity and the Krillax, once on the brink of mutual destruction, now stood together, looking toward a cooperative future. As Liam watched the signing, broadcast live from a rebuilt New York City, he felt a mix of relief and disbelief. "Did you ever think we'd see this day?" he asked Jessica, who stood beside him, watching the historic event. She smiled, her eyes bright with hope. "I wasn't sure, but I'm glad we did. And I'm glad we got to be a part of making it happen." The sun set on a peaceful Earth, its people no longer just survivors of a galactic conflict, but active architects of their destiny. Liam and Jessica, once driven by desperation and a fierce will to protect their home, now worked towards fostering this new era of interstellar cooperation. Humanity had stood together and turned the tide against annihilation. Now, they stood ready to build a future where Earth was not just a battleground, but a vital member of the galactic community. Their spirit, enriched by the trials they had endured, was unyielded, and their eyes, once wary of the stars, now looked towards them with ambition and newfound camaraderie.